Good afternoon. I'm Parker Patchett from the Ozarks First Digital Desk. And for football fans out there, yesterday was kind of like a Christmas in July moment, and it happens every year. It's almost a social media phenomenon at this point, and it is the NFL schedule release day. So we had known for several months now for our Kansas City Chiefs who they would be playing. We just didn't know when they would be playing. And so we have that schedule released now. If you have not seen it, what we're going to do is I'm going to break it down for you in terms of games, times, locations, some predictions, and I even enlisted the help of Dan Lucy to give his perspective on the schedule release. So this one was leaked pretty early. Chiefs will open on the road in Brazil, of all places. They will play the Los Angeles Chargers, and that's going to be the divisional opponent. So the Chiefs will not travel to LA to play the Chargers this year. They will play the Chargers in Brazil. I have that game as a win. I figure the logic behind that decision for me is simply the Chiefs don't have a lot of turnover. They have a lot of rookie pieces they're going to intermingle into the fray, but I think that there's a little more roster turnover in LA, and so usually those first 2 weeks, teams are a little rough around the edges. I think the Chiefs have had a decade of consistency, and so they're typically always ready for that opening round. The only exception would be the opening night game against the Lions, when the Chiefs lost by a point. Now, Sunday, September 14th, the Chiefs will host the Philadelphia Eagles. It'll be a Super Bowl 59 rematch. Obviously, we know how that went. This one's going to be at 3:25 on Fox. I have that one as a win. I think the Chiefs will be emotionally invested in that. Obviously, it won't bring back the Super Bowl that they weren't able to capture, but I think that they will get that done. Their next game is a primetime matchup. It's at 7:20 p.m. on Sunday, September 21st. They are in the Meadowlands to play the New York Giants. That game kind of kicks off. I'll rephrase that. This is kind of the second game in a row where that Chiefs offensive line is going to be tested. The Chiefs traded away Joe Thuney in the offseason. They drafted a tackle. He's a little bit on the injury reserve, not injury reserve at the moment, but he won't be ready to start from what I've been reading by September. But he might, if he improves drastically, we might see him. But this will be a really good test with the Eagles and now the Giants on how well the Chiefs can protect Patrick Mahomes. The Giants drafted Abdul Carter out of Penn State, kind of a Micah Parsons 2.0. Famously asked Lawrence Taylor if he could have his number. That's very brazen. I wouldn't have done it, but the kid can play, and so it'll be a good idea. It'll be a good litmus test on how well the Chiefs' offensive line can hold up post Thuney. Don't really see a lot of weapons on the other side of the ball for the Giants. Not sure if Jackson Dart, their rookie, is going to be starting, or if they're going to go with Russell Wilson. I have the Chiefs winning that. And September 28th, the Baltimore Ravens. This is a game that's at 3:25 on CBS. I personally think the Chiefs are going to lose this game. I think that Baltimore is probably, in terms of the franchise and the team, they're upset about how the AFC Championship went a couple years ago when the Chiefs won in Baltimore, and then the Ravens famously lost by a toe on opening night last year, and so the Chiefs won that game, and Baltimore never got back to the AFC title game to play the Chiefs. I think they'll be invested in this game. I think they leave Arrowhead with a win. The next game for the Chiefs is on the road at Jacksonville. That's Monday, October 6th. That's going to be on ESPN/ABC. I have that one as a win. I think Jacksonville's got a new coach. Trevor Lawrence is recovering from an injury. Sure, they drafted Travis Hunter. He's great on both sides of the ball. I think this is a team that is in its very early stages of redevelopment. I don't think they compete here. I think the Chiefs would take that one. Sunday, October 12th, it's another primetime game, this time at Arrowhead, hosting the Detroit Lions. I think the Chiefs get this one done, and I think they win. So currently, that's 5-1 going into mid-October. Sunday, October 19th, they host the Raiders. It's the first noon game for the Chiefs. Something I noticed last year is the Chiefs were playing a lot of 3:25 games, Monday night games, Thursday night games, Sunday night games, and weirdly, I don't know if they just don't get up early enough or what the deal is, but every noon game had kind of a funk to it. I have this one down as a trap game, and I'll explain why in a minute, but I have the Chiefs winning in a close game over the Raiders. And the reason I call it a trap game is because their next game is against the Washington Commanders. That is another Monday night game that's on ESPN/ABC at 7:15 p.m. And the Commanders are one of those teams that caught everybody by surprise last year. Jaden Daniels is their quarterback. He's going into his second year, and he absolutely lit the NFL on fire. They made it to the NFC title game. It did not work out well for them, but they made it there, and they're just building on it. They traded for, I believe, Deebo Samuel in the offseason, so he's got more weapons. They signed, they either signed or they drafted some offensive line help, and so it'll be interesting to see how those teams stack up. And the reason I say that the Raiders game before was a trap game, I think the Chiefs could be looking forward to this game against Washington or the game after Washington. And I think that maybe the Raiders would have kind of an advantage to kind of sneak up from behind them. But I still think that's a win. I think the game against Washington is a win. The second loss on the Chiefs' schedule, I have Sunday, November 2nd. They are at Buffalo. For the last some odd time, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but for some reason, they always play at Buffalo. I understand that the way that the schedule is, their first place schedule, so they're playing all the teams that were first place in their divisions. That's fine. I have it as a loss. I think the Buffalo Bills, I think every year that they play the Chiefs, they kind of lean forward in their seat. They're more invested. They're more kind of the same deal with the Eagles game in week 2. I think the Bills will be obviously 100% more interested in this game than whatever game they've got going on beforehand. And so that leads the Chiefs into the bye week with a record of 7-2. That's not bad. I think they come out of the bye week, and this is where I hope I'm wrong. I know Andy Reid is great off of a bye week. I know he has a great record off of a bye. I know that when he gets more time to plan, he's typically better. They're at Denver on the 16th, 3:25 on CBS. I have this one as a loss for the Chiefs. I think that Bo Nix going into his second year, that defense is getting better. Denver definitely drafted for defense, and with Sean Payton at the helm, I think that they're going to get better. I think they get lucky. I think they get better. So I have that as a loss. So Chiefs 7-3 heading into Sunday, November 23rd. They're hosting the Colts. That's another noon game. I have that one as also a trap game. Indianapolis isn't that good. And their starting quarterback, Anthony Richardson, is inconsistent at best. Daniel Jones is their backup. He's even more inconsistent. And so I think with Steve Spagnuolo on the defensive side of the ball, I think this is kind of a rough day for the Colts. But again, it could be a trap game. Starts at noon. I think the Chiefs are looking forward to Thanksgiving, where Thursday, November 27th, they are in Jerry World playing the Cowboys. It's 3:30 on CBS. I have that one as a win. I think the Cowboys are a good team. I don't think they're a great team. And I think the world will be tuning in. Several experts have predicted this to be the most watched NFL game of all time. And I don't think that's just because these teams are good. Personally, I think it's because it's on Thanksgiving, and I think a lot of people want to see the Chiefs lose. So I think it's kind of a mix of those two issues there. I think that's a win. Sunday, December 7th, they're hosting the Texans. That's another primetime game on NBC, and I have that one as a win for the Chiefs. Then December 14th, they're hosting the Chargers. Remember, they don't play in LA this year. They're playing the Chargers in Brazil, but the Chargers will come to Arrowhead on December 14th at noon. I have that as a win. They go on the road to Tennessee. They play the Titans at noon on the 21st of December. I have that one as a win. And then hosting the Broncos on Christmas. Obviously, a couple years ago, the Chiefs struggled on Christmas playing the Raiders. I was there at that game. It was my first Chiefs game ever. Kind of felt like group therapy, walking down the spirals, and everybody just upset about what happened. And then obviously they won last Christmas on the road at Pittsburgh. I think they win this year on Christmas at home, 7:15 game. That's on a Thursday. That's going to be on Prime Video only. And then the last game of the schedule is at the Las Vegas Raiders. I have them as a loss. I have the Chiefs resting starters for that. So they will be 13-4. My prediction, 13-4 by the end of the year. I don't know where that would size up with the rest of the league. Definitely a playoff berth. And hopefully the Chiefs can get back to the Super Bowl, which I believe is in Santa Clara this year. But I reached out. I don't want you guys to just listen to my opinions. I reached out to Dan Lucy and asked him his opinions on the Chiefs' schedule and specifically what he noticed on it. And so he thinks the Chiefs will also go 13-4. He has the Chiefs beating the Eagles in week 2. He tells me that the biggest tests from his perspective for the Chiefs is those weeks 8 and 9. That's that Washington Commanders matchup on Monday night, and then on the road the next week at Buffalo. But he also thinks that the Chiefs will lose both of those games. And then he has them winning the next 7, so that's after the bye. He has them winning at Denver, hosting Indy, at Dallas, hosting Houston, hosting the Chargers, at the Titans, hosting the Broncos, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then resting starters for the Week 18 game against the Week 17 game against the Raiders. So his 3 losses are the last week against the Raiders, the back-to-back games against the Commanders and the Bills, and then he has the Chiefs losing that Sunday afternoon game against the Ravens. That's that Week 4 matchup. So, but the schedule's out. What do you think? Do you think these predictions are somewhat aligned? Do you think that the Chiefs will do better? Do you think they'll do worse? Let me know in the comments.